Hello, grade 9s and 10s. I'm going to be reading through Macbeth Act 4, Scene 1, and you're very welcome to watch this video if you'd like to, and if you don't want to, that's totally fine too. This is just optional, and I'm just offering it as a help to people who want to listen to me read the play and give some interpretation as we go. So we're going to go to Act 4, Scene 1. And in this scene, we're going to encounter the witches. And as you remember in Act 3, after the banquet, where Banquo's ghost shows up and sits in Macbeth's seat, and only Macbeth can see the ghost, he's quite frazzled, he's quite disturbed by what happened, and he feels like he is losing grip on things, and he wants to know what should he do. So the first time he got some advice was from the witches. They're the ones that set him on this path of pursuing becoming the king through murder, and now he wants to know what should he do. And this is obviously not a good idea. He's losing his sense of wisdom or morality, and he's really just throwing everything out and saying, I just need to know. I just need to find out some information no matter what happens. So, okay, so we get to scene 1, and there's thunder, and the witches enter. So I'll read those parts, and okay, you can follow along in your book. Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed, thrice and once the hedge pig whined. Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time. Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31 sweltered venom sleeping got. Boil thou first in the charmed pot. And the witches are dancing around the cauldron and just throwing in some different body parts of animals and different things that they've rounded up. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf of the ravined salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto a tiger's caudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire, burn, and cauldron bubble. Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. Okay, and then Hecate enters, and as I mentioned in a previous act, when Hecate appeared, most scholars don't believe that this is original to Shakespeare's writing, and they believe that this part is not as well, that Hecate was added in by another author. Okay. Oh, well done, I commend your pains, and everyone shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, like elves and fairies in a ring, enchanting all that you put in. By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks. So Macbeth enters, and he says, How now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is it you do? A deed without a name. I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it, answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though bladed corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple on their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though the treasure of nature's germans tumble altogether, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you. So he's saying, even if storms come and all of nature is unleashed and churches are destroyed and castles and palaces and pyramids, even if everything falls apart, just answer my question. He doesn't care. He's just selfishly asking this question. Speak, Demand, we'll answer. Say if thou hadst rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters. Call them, let me see them. So he wants to hear it not from the witches, but from the evil spirits that they answer to. Pour in sow's blood that have eaten her 9 Pharaoh. Grease that's sweatin' from the murder's gibbet throw into the flame. Come high or low, thyself in office deftly show. Okay, so there's thunder, and then there's the first apparition, which is an armed head. So a head with like, I don't know, some kind of helmet or gear on that would be for going to war, maybe. Okay, so this is like a ghostly appearance. Tell me, thou unknown power. Then the witch says, he knows thy thought. Hear his speech, but say thou not. Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me, enough. Okay, so here's the first piece of advice he gets. Beware Macduff. And we know as the reader that he really should be watching out for Macduff, because Macduff has gone to England to try to round up some help from the king and from others to come and attack Macbeth. So we can see this is true, and just like with the witch's first predictions for Macbeth, some of them did come true. And this is where that theme comes in of fair is foul and foul is fair. It's that things might seem true, and maybe they are, but they're not quite exactly what you think it's going to be. So that's going to be the case with these predictions as well. And we get back to the idea of the witch is trying to purposely lead Macbeth astray to bring his destruction. And that big question of, is Macbeth to blame for his actions, or is he just has he just been led astray by these witches and he couldn't have done anything about it? So does he have free will? Could he have chosen a different path, or is this just his fate? The witches decided to curse him, and that's all there is. So that's a really big question that we've been kind of in the back of our minds looking at, and that I would like us to consider a little bit more as we keep going. Okay, so that's his first prediction that he gets, or warning, is beware Macduff. Macbeth says, whatever thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fear aright, but one word more. He will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first. So there's thunder, the second apparition, which is a bloody child. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee. Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth. So Macbeth thinks, wow, I can laugh at everyone because no one that's born of woman will harm me. Everyone has to be born of woman. So nobody can harm me. And we know as the reader that he should be careful and be discerning about what does this mean, but he thinks to himself, then live, Macbeth, what need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies and sleep in spite of thunder. So he thinks, I don't need to be afraid of Macduff, although I'll kill him just to make sure. Okay, thunder, third apparition, a child crowned with a tree in his hand. What is this that rises like the issue of a king and wears upon his baby brow the round and top of sovereignty? Like, what is this baby that's wearing a crown? The witches say, listen, but speak not to it. Be lion-mettled, proud, and take no care who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come against him. So what this apparition is saying is, don't worry about who's coming to fight against you. You can be brave, you can be proud, you don't have to worry about anybody, because you will never be defeated until the forest marches upon the hill that your castle stands on. So he thinks, how could the forest ever march on my castle? So that's never going to happen. So I'm never going to be conquered. So he says, that will never be. Who can impress the forest? Bid the tree unfix his earthbound root. Sweet Bodeman's good. Rebellious dead, rise never till the wood of Burnham rise, and our high-placed Macbeth shall live the lease of nature, pay his breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom? So he thinks, this is great. Nothing's ever going to stop me. The woods can't march on my castle. But I just want to know this one thing. Will Banquo's kids ever be the kings in my kingdom? And they all say, seek to know no more. I will be satisfied. Deny me this. Oh, sorry. He says, I will be satisfied. Like, you will answer me. Deny me this and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know. And then the cauldron sinks. Why sinks that cauldron? What noise is this? Show, show, show. Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart. And so, because he insisted, they will show him. And so then 8 kings come marching along. And then the 8th king has a glass in his hand, and Banquo last. Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down, thy crown does sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first. A third is like the former. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? A fourth? So he's seeing person after person come upon him, and they're all kings, and they look like Banquo, and he doesn't like that. Start, eyes, what? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? Another yet? A 7th? I'll see no more. And yet the 8th appears, who bears a glass which shows me many more. So a glass is a mirror. And some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight. Now I see 'tis true, for the blood-boltered Banquo smiles upon me and points at them for his. What is this so? So he knows that there will be 8 kings that come from Banquo's line. Aye, sir, all this is so, but why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give a sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay. So then there's music, and the witches dance. Where are they? Gone? Let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar. Come in, without there. And Lennox comes in and says, what's your grace's will? Saw you the weird sisters? No, my lord. Came they not by you? No, indeed, my lord. Infected be the air wherein they ride, and damned all those who trust them. I did hear the galloping of horse. Who was it came by? 'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff is fled to England. Fled to England? Aye, my good lord. And then he says, off to the side, so this is a soliloquy. Time, thou anticipatest my dread exploits. The flighty purpose never is overtook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the very firstlings of my heart shall be the firstlings of my hand. And even now, to crown my thoughts with acts, be it thought and done. The castle of Macduff I will surprise. So he thinks, okay, so this is starting. Now, whatever comes to my heart, that's what I'm going to act on. So he's not going to think through anything. He's just going to act. So this is what he decides. He says, the castle of Macduff I will surprise. Seize upon Fife. Give to the edge of the sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. So while Macduff has gone to England, he's going to go to Macduff's castle and kill his wife and children and anyone who gets in his way. No boasting like a fool, this deed I'll do before this purpose cool. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Come, bring me where they are. So this is a pretty important scene where he's meeting with his witches, and it really starts the beginning of the end for Macbeth, because he's really crossed a line going back to see the witches. The first time he didn't try to go see the witches, they approached him, and now he's going to them for help. He doesn't care what's going to happen or what he does. He's just going to fight to the end. And so he has these predictions and warnings. 1, to beware Macbeth. 2, to not worry about anyone who is born of a woman. Doesn't that seem like everyone? And then third of all, to know that no one will ever conquer him until the forest marches on his castle. And that seems like, well, that can't happen. And then, so in a way, he feels quite safe, but then in another way, he still has to beware Macduff, and he also knows that Banquo's descendants will be the king, not him, not his descendants. So, okay, that's it for Act 4, Scene 1.